Hello everyone and welcome back. Sorry I haven't been posting too much lately. Life has been keeping me busy, you know? And actually I had finally received the collector's edition box just a couple days ago. And I thought, the weekend's here, let's get a video up. And this thing was honestly very surprising. Just the box by itself before I even got to open it just had me in awe. The artwork all around it, the attention to detail, just the quality of the materials. It was amazing. It reminded me of when I got the box for the Spelljammer edition way back when, and it's like, you know, Larian really put everything into this, and it was just absolutely immaculate. And just also for a bit of perspective, this thing after, you know, shipping and tax ended up being roughly $300. And at the end of it all, I can definitely say for a collector's edition, this was pretty worth it. Now, I know we got to peek at this a little bit during the live stream before the first launch quite a while back, but it didn't necessarily show everything. And of course we already have the digital versions of these, but still it's really nice to see these up close and in person. And these stickers I thought were actually pretty cute. We're thinking of probably making some kind of bookmarks out of them later. And one thing that I was actually really excited for was, and if you're an older fan of the originals, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about. This cloth map. Now, the older editions had some of these as well, and it's probably been lost to time, but I remember growing up, I had one of these for Shadows of Am, and it was just really nice to see. Now, I had a little bit of trouble getting the book out of its case in this spot, but thankfully no damage was done. This thing was just as amazing as the first time I looked at this box. It has, what is it called? Debossing. It looks like it's foiled in certain spots. The edges of the pages are actually gold trimmed. It actually has texture to it. It has weight. This thing felt amazing. We've acquired a number of art books in our lives, and before I even got to open it, I thought this is now the best art book that I've owned. It really was just shocking how much went into this and just how good the quality was. I without going into too much detail, I personally work in the printing industry, so you know, I've seen and done a lot, right? And just from a printing, you know, design perspective, this book is just S-tier perfection. I would love to put this up somewhere once I finally have room for it. And one surprise I almost forgot about was we were actually given some booster packs for Magic the Gathering, which I will be opening a bit later. And another surprise that I noticed is Larian didn't just give us, you know, a shaped box to put in the statue. They actually imprinted their logo on it for a styrofoam box to hold the product. I've personally never seen a company do that, ever. I didn't even know that was possible. And they even got the little 3-dagger logo portion of the game logo on the back. Now this dice was also, honestly, everything is surprising. That dice was pretty hefty, and it is very reminiscent of the dice skin that we get in game. I'm not sure if certain editions have different colored dice. I know on the thumbnail online it was a kind of purplish, but mine was blue. And then we also got a keychain to go along with it. It's a little tiny tadpole, and I'm probably not actually going to use it, but I'm going to find a nice spot to hang it up somewhere eventually. Because even that thing is pretty sturdy. I think it might be sterling or something substantial. Don't quote me on that, though. I really have no idea. And pretty thankfully, the statue is just literally 2 pieces. We have the Emperor, and then we have the Drow on the rocks. And there's been a number of statues, of course, I've wanted growing up from a lot of different games and whatnot. And this is technically my first one. It exceeded any expectations I might have had. I am pretty happy with what this thing actually amounted to. It's got heft, it feels thick, it feels like, you know, it's worth how much it actually was. And yes, I know I'm technically a bit behind on, you know, finishing the game. I know a lot of y'all have probably blown through it already. I'm very much taking my time, trying to enjoy the first run. And of course, you know, editing myself and then IRL, things are dragging a bit longer than I would have hoped. Now, I'm finally opening up these Magic the Gathering cards. I dabbled a little bit with Magic the Gathering in high school way back when. I had some friends who were really, really into it, and it was enjoyable for a little while, but it really wasn't my thing. And I mean, they were so into it. They had shoe boxes just absolutely filled with cards. It was pretty commendable for them. But either way, even on the outset, when I saw the announcement for this, I thought, that's really nice. They actually have an entire, what's the proper terminology? Just a collection of Magic cards that are all strictly D&D based. And getting to have these card packs available just to look at them, it really is amazing to see the artwork and all of the effort that went into them. And not to mention just a few characters they chose to make cards of were fairly surprising. Now, I know during the announcement I saw there were, you know, of course we have the companions that are in here as cards, but there were even older people, you know, like the old companions like Imoen and everyone else that showed up. And even in this deck that I got right here, John Irenicus actually showed up. And that was, I think, the biggest surprise of these 3 packs, because I didn't expect to see the BBEG from the second game show up in here. Yep, there he is. Legendary creature, elf wizard. Now, a part of me was actually really hopeful that I would have gotten the card for Boo, the miniature giant space hamster. Now, I am very happy that I got that one artwork card with him in Minsk, but I love that little guy so much. I really just wish I just had just the card specifically for him. Every now and then I still think about that space hamster video that I did years ago at the start of my channel, talking about the lore of that little guy and where he comes from. But still, I'm still pretty happy with how these cards came out. All the artwork is really great, and it's just plain to see all of the effort that went into it. Now, I decided to take a closer look at these character sheets for all the companions. It actually felt like it was printed on really nice paper. It was pretty thick, and even the quality of the print itself was also astounding. Now, I didn't take too much time to actually reread everything just because I feel like we already know all of it. But still, these are meant to, you know, be usable. These are, for what it's worth, character templates. I mean, they're very much collector's edition stuff that you could argue shouldn't be used. But, you know, hey, go for it. Do what you want to do with it. I personally, if given the opportunity, might get these framed and hang them up somewhere. But that's, you know, logistics for the future. Future Kevin will have to worry about that. And then taking a closer look back at these stickers, we have one for all of the classes, one for all of the companions, and then we got a couple of generic logo stickers, and then even some cute ones of the side NPCs. As soon as I saw the badger sitting on the log, I thought, yeah, I laughed at myself when I was going through it, like, yep, I know exactly what that's from. And in the end, to wrap everything up, I looked back at the book and took a closer look at things. Now, I'm a sucker for maps. I love it when books have this stuff at the very beginning on the insides of their covers. This, when I took a closer look, my face actually lit up quite a bit, because if you remember the older games, all of the icons for the locations whenever you're going between zones, that was very reminiscent of it, and it surprised me because, like, this is for the third game, but in a way this is a bit of a callback. But still, finally taking a moment to just flip through these page by page, like just seeing where these characters were during development with their original concepts versus how they ended up is just absolutely amazing. I love the original shadow art. Astarion did not disappoint. My boy Gale, you already know how I feel about my boy Gale in terms of that artwork versus now. Lae'zel, I love her the most out of all the companions. She is truly my favorite. And then Will and Mizora, I feel like may have had the most drastic changes looking at that artwork. But still, it came out pretty nice to say the least. And then Karlach, I already know her changes, and honestly, still came out pretty good. And so yeah, that's pretty much it. This whole collector's edition was very surprising. It was definitely worth the money. If you are still interested, I think Larian might have a few copies left online if you go and check out their merch store. Don't quote me on that though, because I don't truly know if they're actually available. I just noticed that they're still posted up. So without further ado, if you enjoyed this content, please make sure you subscribe to the channel. And until next time, everyone, y'all stay safe out there.